Interest rates are proposed to go up one more time before the end of this month and possibly another 2 times before the end of 2022. How will this affect you, the housing market, investors, and where are we in the market right now? Hi, everybody. My name is Jerome Maldonado, and we are bringing you our housing market update. And so today, I want to go over 5 key factors that you need to take into account when you're shopping real estate, investing, when you're buying land and you're building houses, and want to go over how these factors affect our current economic standpoint of where we are with interest rates. So the Fed's released that you should expect to see interest rates go up at least 2 more times before the end of 2022. Now, how is this going to affect you? Now, we have been talking about this in a lot of my prior videos that if you have not watched our May updates, our February updates, you're going to want to go back at the end of this video, click and watch the updates as things have progressed to where we are today. Because that progression is going to give you an indication of where the standpoints that we're moving towards. Now, a lot of people right now, one of the big things is they sit back and go, oh my God, interest rates are going to go up again. And when you look at it from a different standpoint on the actual building and investing end, if you are already involved in it, most of you guys have already experienced what I am going to talk about first as one of the first factors. So the cost of labor has also went up in line with the cost and inflation of materials and goods. And so what's happening right now is that labor has actually went up 3 times more than the cost of goods themselves. And so most people are only talking about the increased costs of materials when it comes to a real estate or construction standpoint, but they're not talking about the increased costs of labor. And so what's happened is a lot of subcontractors, a lot of general contractors have got they've gotten extremely comfortable during this market increase. And so hence, since materials have went up, they say, well, shoot, if materials are up by 20%, I'm going to buffer my estimate by another 20%. Instead of making $4,000, I'm going to make $7,000 on this project because I can. And I'll just use the excuse that materials are just super expensive. And so right now, more than ever, contractors are making more money than they ever have made before. And a lot of them are non-sophisticated contractors. We have contractors that are I would call them, instead of contractors, trade professionals that are making more money now than they have ever made before. People that were working a 9-to-5 job or an 8-to-5 job and working as a contractor doing drywall, plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, roofing, stucco, whatever it might be, are now going out, they're freelancing and open up their own companies. They don't have insurance, a lot of them. A lot of them don't have don't have contractors licenses and don't even have real companies set up, but yet they're charging a premium as high as companies like ours that have insurance, employees, employment taxes, 941 taxes, gross receipt taxes, sales tax, all of that stuff. And so they're making plentiful amounts of money that they wouldn't have been able to make without what happened in the inflationary market. Now, we want interest rates to go up, and I'll tell you why. One of the first reasons we want interest rates to go up is to be able to bring down inflation. Now, if you guys understand the way the Federal Reserve works, you guys would understand that it's a financial game. And like I've always told people, you can either be a part of it or you can be affected by it. So whether you're affected by it or you're a part of it is up to you. Now, like the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. And so when the feds go out, you have to understand to join the feds, the Federal Reserve or federal government, and the housing market and how everything's happening right now, institutions run the Federal Reserve. And so right now, with interest rates going up, everybody's in a frenzy going, oh my goodness, nobody's going to be able to afford homes, 2008 all over again. And the answer to that is completely wrong. It's not 2008 all over again. Yes, we're in a recessionary market, but if you go back historically, you'll find that in 2008, it was the first time in history that in any recession, housing prices went down. First recession ever where the housing prices went down. Now, why is that? In 2008, there was an economic crisis and the banks were in a very bad position. Right now, banks' bottom lines on their books are extremely, extremely strong. And so what happened in 2008, the banks are not even set up remotely close to how they were today as they were in 2008. Now, another piece of information that people need to understand is that in 2008, when the recession hit, there was over 12 months worth of inventory of single family homes on the market, which means that there's 12 months of inventory means that it was already a buyer's market at that time. Now, what does the National Association of Realtors tell us a buyer's market is? Where does the table turn and the teeter-totter go from a seller's market to a buyer's market? After 6 months of inventory on the market, what the National Association of Realtors says is we can see a plateau. The scales of balance are even. The teeter-totter is exactly even. We need 6 months worth of inventory. If there's less than 6 months worth of inventory, then hence it's a seller's market. If there's more than 6 months worth of inventory, it's a buyer's market. Now, when people hear recession because of what happened in 2008, they go, boom, the tables have turned, it's a buyer's market. And I'm here to tell you guys that it's not quite like that. We only have 2.5 months worth of inventory on the market compared to 2008's 12 months worth of inventory. So almost 5 times less inventory today than when we had in 2008. So if you look at it based on the perspective of the National Association of Realtors nationwide being the 6-month benchmark for housing, we only have 2.5 months. It is still considered a seller's market. So ladies and gentlemen, sellers, in spite of the market slightly slowing, still have the upper hand. Why? There's not enough market inventory out there for buyers right now. So we're still sitting in a position right now today where sellers have the upper hand. So for those of you guys who are sitting back going, oh my goodness, I'm going to get a great price on a house because people are going to go into foreclosure, you may want to rethink that. There is going to be some more foreclosure. Foreclosure rates are going up, but you have to remember that foreclosures going up from nothing, like we were almost at zero. So even if it goes up 3%, 3% of nothing is very little, right? So where foreclosures back in 2008 were in excess of 8%, we're still under 2% foreclosure rates. So understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we still have a long margin of variance to go to even be anywhere close to the 2008 recession. This recession is going to happen. It's real. It's really coming. But understand that it's not going to have the same economic impact and effects that 2008 did. 2008, the Federal Reserve, the banks, the central banking systems were sitting at a place where they had over-leveraged themselves. They were giving loans on houses in excess of 100% of their values. They'd give a single-family mortgage with 0% down, 100% in, and then they would go out and get appraisals for home equity lines of credit and give people up to an additional 20% on top of the full value of their home. So people were leveraged 120% loan-to-value on a lot of single-family residents, which is stupid. Now, when you look at it today, banks have got wiser. The CFPB was set in place to protect consumers from banks doing this type of stuff and over-leveraging people. Back in 2008, people would just sit back and say, I'm over-leveraged. I'm at 120% loan-to-value on my house. It's going to take me a decade to get my values back. I'm not going to pay for this house. Why would I pay for a house that I don't even have that much equity in? I'm going to sit here and make a mortgage payment of $2,000 a month, and I can go rent an apartment or rent a house for $1,000 a month. And so people would just get rid of their homes and they would go into an apartment and they would save money. And then what they started doing was they would save all those mortgage payments, save up. So in spite of their foreclosure, they would fix their credit, they'd go back in, they'd put a hefty down payment on a house, and they'd get right back into the market again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, right now in 2022, we can't just go out and rent an apartment because if you look at the market, apartment and rental values are still climbing. They're still going up. So you may have a $2,000 a month mortgage on your home, but to go in and get a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment might cost you $2,500 or $3,000 to get you a rental property that's going to coincide with what you currently have right now in your mortgage payment. So I was just at a young lady's house the other day. We went out and gave her an estimate for some driveways and concrete work. She goes, she's a single mom, and she said to me, she goes, I bought this fix and flip. She goes, I bought this, not fix and flip house. She goes, I bought this distressed property out of foreclosure thinking I was getting a good deal. She goes, oh my goodness, I have put so much money into this house. She goes, but one of my girlfriends told me to sell it. And then I asked her how much she was paying for rent on her apartment. And she goes, my mortgage is only $1,500 a month. My friend for a little apartment is paying $2,300 a month for a 2-bedroom. I got 4 bedrooms here. Why in the world would I sell my home? I figure I may as well just dump a little bit more money into it, get it looking the way I want it, and just stay put right here instead of going out and renting. She goes, I do like the luxury of not having to worry about this stuff and being in an apartment, but to save $800, $900 a month, she goes, I'll just stay put right here in my single family home. So ladies and gentlemen, that's a perfect example of what's happening today versus 2008. People are staying put in their homes. They're not over leveraged. We have over $28 trillion of equity in our single family homes as U.S. Americans right now today, which is historical. The U.S. American people have never had a bottom line on their books of $28 trillion of equity on their single family homes. And so the banks are sitting strong. They've gotten better borrowers that they've lent money to, so the loans are stronger, less foreclosures, and appreciated values have went up so much that people have a ton of equity in their homes. So hence, in spite of a recession, it's still a seller's market, and housing prices are stabilizing, which is good. But to everybody who's actually doing value add projects, fix and flips, new construction, buying land and building houses, right now more than ever, this is going to help us. We want interest rates to go up to keep an even playing field and humble our contractors. So if you're a contractor and you're sitting back going, Jerome, I'm going to badmouth you. Don't be telling people to not pay us as much as they're paying us. Ladies and gentlemen, to be able to keep the market the way it needs to be without, because imagine how much a loaf of bread is going to cost if inflation continues. Imagine how much a box of nails is going to cost if inflation continues. The little $5 box of screws that you used to be able to go and pick up is now $13, ladies and gentlemen. So inflation has to stabilize. And so as much as I hate that I support what the feds are doing right now with raising interest rates, I support what they're doing right now as far as raising interest rates, because I would love nothing more than to see one of the best things that came out of the 2008 recession was employee loyalty and the humble ability to have subcontractors advocate for their general contractors and go out and actually appreciate the work that's coming in, which, ladies and gentlemen, is not happening right now. We have contractors that have worked with us for 20 plus years that'll sit back and go, well, if you don't give me that, you can just go hire another contractor. And we do. Because, ladies and gentlemen, where that one contractor came from, there's dozens more that appreciate the work that we're giving them, and they love the value. And I always tell people, as soon as what we're paying you and what we're doing as a company doesn't work for you anymore, just kindly let us know, and we'll kindly replace you with somebody else who understands that and appreciates what we have going on. And you should go out and run your business in the same facet, because, ladies and gentlemen, as inflation goes down, then labor rates will also plateau. And when labor rates and inflations plateau, then people will know where they are in the standpoint of our economics to go out and start getting back to work, where people aren't worried about paying $6 for a tank of gas, paying $60 for one sheet of plywood. Ladies and gentlemen, we need inflation to stabilize, and increased interest rates will help us. And if the market is bearing the true face of this recession right now, we really don't have a lot to worry about. The only people that have things to worry about are those who are so substantially over leveraged, they've positioned themselves there themselves knowingly, and hence we can't fix that for them. Just next time they need to be a sharper, more wise investor to not put themselves in a position where they're over leveraged. Leverage yourself with good debt, but don't over leverage yourself where you're such an uncomfortable position that you can't get out of it, you can't back up. Ladies and gentlemen, underwrite things conservatively right now, but understand that the market is going to be okay. Now, when we're underwriting deals, we're doing them conservative. We're going in, we are expecting a market contraction. How aggressive? I don't know that. I just know that the market contraction is going to be less than it was in 2008, and we're going to be in an okay position. There's one other factor. So there's one other factor that I want you to consider when you actually go in and start looking at investments right now, because interest rates are high. And so you investors, pay attention. As the market turns and interest rates go up, this will help us stabilize inflation. But once we get there, slowly, as the market stabilizes, interest rates will slowly go back down. So the quicker we get there, the quicker we get our interest rates up and we stabilize inflation, the sooner interest rates will come back down and real estate rates and appraised rates will start increasing. So ladies and gentlemen, don't be too alarmed. If you're an investor, just stay in the game. Underwrite conservatively for the short term, but understand that there is an end to all this craziness and this madness. And don't pay attention to everything that's happening on the media. Look at historic data. Follow good information. The National Association of Home Builders, the National Association of Realtors. Go in and look and read what the New York Times is publishing. And stop looking at ABC, NBC, and CBS, Fox News, and these places that are rating-based trying to get your attention, and look at real data. Real data will help you depict what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what to invest, what not to invest in, and how to continue moving and migrating forward as these unprecedented times unfold and you guys live through them. This is a great time to invest. This is a great time to buy. This is a great time to build. And ladies and gentlemen, fortunes will be made in this recessionary market. The question is, which side will you be on? The crying and complaining end, or the buying, investing, and profiting end? Keep following our content. Click below. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up and click and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time.